2 weeks into minor league cricket and parity is already the word. 19 of 23 teams who have played already have lost at least one game. In the East, no team could capitalize on the Stallions' 0-2 start. Rizwan Mazhar and Samarth Tiwari made sure the New England Eagles beat the star-studded Cavaliers thanks to an East Division high 56 runs in the number 7 spot from Mazhar and 6 wickets for 5 runs from Tiwari. The Cavs followed with another loss to the Empire State Titans on Sunday, this time by DLS, but neither the Eagles nor the Titans could claim first place, both falling to the recharged New Jersey Stallions. The comeback weekend put the Stallions in first place in the points table and unbeaten Philadelphia right behind them, along with the 1-2 Cavaliers, thanks to a washout in Week 1 and everyone else with 2 points. The only thing clear in the East is that it's up for grabs. Week 3 will see the Cavaliers play 2 against New Jersey Stallions and Philly double up against Manhattan, all games at Mercy County Park. The South saw limited action in Week 2 with Baltimore Royals taking 2 definitive wins from Orlando Galaxy. In the process, Baltimore created some interesting scoreboard trivia thanks to Major Leaguer Sarabjit Lada. A hat trick was followed by a team double hat trick, which was followed by a personal double hat trick. Even crazier, we saw wickets on 5 consecutive legal deliveries, though a wide following the first wicket of the spell spoiled both a team triple hat trick and then an individual triple hat trick. You might want to dissect this team sheet because it's tough to wrap your head around. Minor League Cricket shows Atlantic Conference Batter of the Week for Week 2 is Jaskaran Malhotra, whose 90 runs in 2 innings at Church Street Park topped the conference over the weekend. Our Atlantic Conference Bowler of the Week for Week 2 is Samarth Tiwari, whose 6 wickets for 5 runs in New England's victory over NJ Somerset Cavaliers edges out Sarabjit Lada. Moving on to the West, we saw only 3 games in Week 2, with the Seattle Thunderbolts splitting a 2-game series against Silicon Valley Strikers at scenic Tollgate Farm Park. The Grizzlies made their 2023 debut against Bay Area rival East Bay Blazers at Davis. Sanjay Krishnamurthy put on perhaps the best all-round performance so far this season, scoring 84 from 52 and taking 2 wickets with the ball. Anthony Brambles, 73 from 42, and Ahmed Asif's late flurry with the bat couldn't overcome the latency in the chase created by 8 wickets, and the Grizzlies fell short by 19 runs. The Central was a big story in Week 2, and we'll get to that shortly with our guest Tom Nielsen, but I've got to mention some standout performers. Our top batter for Week 2 in the Pacific Conference is Joshua Tromp, whose 130 runs in 2 innings at a 171 strike rate put him in second place for the season in the Pacific in runs and third in all of minor league cricket. Our top bowler for the Pacific in Week 2 is Seattle's Rahul Nama, who took 7 wickets in 2 innings against the Silicon Valley Strikers. Time now for the Emerging Player of the Week, and we've got some new criteria for the season. Traditionally, we go with the best performing U21 player for the week, but we feel it's time to retire some players from eligibility. For the 2023 season, any U21 who has both won the award in the past and represented USA Cricket or been selected to a Major League Cricket team will be ineligible for the Emerging Player of the Week. This means Sanjay Krishnamurthy and Ali Sheikh's ridiculous output in Week 2 won't be considered. That said, our winner this week stands on his own merit, and he's done the double by winning our Pacific Batter of the Week. The Emerging Player of the Week for Week 2 is Joshua Tromp for his outstanding batting display. Joining me now to talk about the Central Division is Tom Nielsen. Tom, what a weekend.
Yeah, it was great. We finally got to see all the Texas teams in action, and St. Louis and Michigan as well. So everybody's played a game in the Central, and it's great to see everybody get started.
Yeah, last time we talked, which was just a couple of weeks ago on this program, it was the preseason episode, basically. Yeah. We were talking about how the favorites are the Dallas Mustangs. We practically crowned them champions of the league. Yeah. But we did say, you have to play the games and the players have to feel their roles out. You have 8 major leaguers on this team. That's an awful lot. Mm-hmm. And then, but sometimes it just like in basketball, when you have a superstar team, there's only so much ball to go around. They started off on Friday, and they played an absolute nail-biter.
Oh, it was an unbelievable match against the Houston Hurricanes. Mustangs, they stumbled a little bit with the bat out of the gate. They got to 148, but it was really came down to the last over with Houston. Usman Rafiq comes in after a run out in the final over. Houston needs 7 off 4 to win the match. Usman Rafiq trying to get off strike, get to the established batter at the other end, goes dot dot to start, and then you got 7 off 2 for the last, and he plays. Honestly, I've watched a lot of minor league cricket over the last 3 years. One of the most audacious shots I've ever seen at the very end of the match with a scoop over fine leg to get a six to tie up the match with a ball left. The call from Brian Walters on that was outstanding. I highly encourage you to check that out. Just one of the most fun shots I've ever seen right at the end. Down to one ball. They needed one run to win on the final ball. Just chipped it right to the safest hands in minor league cricket in Nash Kenjige. So it went to a super over. Saw a lot of super overs. I feel like we saw a lot of super overs in Texas last year. Another one to start us off this year. And Houston, they started with the bat. They only got 8 runs. 2 wickets down in the super over. And then Hamad Azam comes in, resurrects his 2021 form for the Dallas Mustangs, went 6-4 off the first 2 to win the match. So a real nail biter to start the season for Dallas. Like you said, we basically crowned them champions, or at least champions of the Central a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, a little bit of a stumble out of the gate for them. They managed to pull it out, but no net run rate advantage out of that.
Right. And I did talk to Brian Walters about that game. Of course, I had to give him a ring on Sunday because we had just seen, by Sunday, we had seen a couple of crazy Dallas Mustangs games. In the end of regulation, I guess you could say, with Usman Rafiq batting and Nosh catching him to preserve the tie and to send it into super overs. That was, if you followed USA cricket over the last several years, it was 2 of the heroes of American cricket face to face. We know all about Usman Rafiq and his story, and we know all about Nosh and his story. As you mentioned, that audacious shot. Really, they just needed one to win on that last ball. Do you think that they absolutely had to win at that moment to win that game?
Usman Rafiq 7 off 4 to win, trying to get the strike over to Stockland Hayter. It felt like they were due to win at that moment, especially like after they got the 6. Like you said, just need one more to win. It should have been done. And yeah, like you saw the celebration from Nosh when he got the catch to send it to the super over, and yeah, like momentum totally swung back to Dallas at that point. And yeah, Houston, they just couldn't really put it together. And Hamad Azam said, like, I'll just take care of this in 2 balls when he got the bat. So yeah, it was huge momentum swing at the end. Going one way with the 6 and then just out next ball. So just again, unbelievable match, probably the longest match in minor league cricket history. I think it ended up at about 4 hours, 50 minutes after the super over, every ball taken, 3 or 4 minutes as they were setting the field. And hey, like it was worth it because again, they got the out on the final ball. But yeah, unbelievable match and just excellent way to start the season down in Texas for those teams.
Absolutely, it was an impressive game. And the very next day, this Dallas Mustangs team, they just snatched victory out of the claws of defeat. Now they head over and they're going to play the Lone Star Athletics, a good team in their own right, 4 major leaguers on this team. And you're thinking, Dallas, maybe, okay, this might be the wake-up call for them. This might be the slap across the face. Hey, wake up. You're too good to come down to the wire like this. You should be beating everybody according to everybody. And then they go ahead and they play Lone Star. And let's talk a little bit about how that went, because it didn't really go as scripted.
No, they definitely came out a little bit flat. Lone Star went into bat first, 133 run opening partnership by Shaheen Jahangir and Nitish Kumar. It just it felt like Dallas never really got going. Body language was a little bit flat in the field, like as would be expected if you're not getting a wicket the first 15 overs of a match. And Lone Star ended up putting a pretty big total up with 186, and Dallas just couldn't really respond. They lost 3 wickets in the power play. They basically had House and Ali Sheikh with 70 odd off 40 odd each. Excellent innings to frankly like get back into the match. Just really too little too late. I mean, they ended up losing by 10 runs. I think the final score was probably a little bit closer than it felt for 90% of the match.
Sure. Yeah.
But again, like you said, maybe a bit of a hangover from the day before. Lone Star is a great team, as is Houston. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a bit, but potentially the best 2 teams outside of Dallas, the Dallas Mustangs, at least in the Central. And yeah, couldn't get the job done against Lone Star.
Now, the 18th over of that chase, Ali Sheikh and Nosh Kenjige they were in the middle together.
Yep.
Nosh starts it off with a reverse sweep 6,
Mhm.
then scores a single. Then Ali Sheikh scores a reverse sweep 4, then a
Yep.
6, and then 2, and then 4 for 24 runs or
Yep.
23 runs on the over there.
Mhm.
It's just absolutely ridiculous to cut the asking to in half, basically from
Yeah.
46 to 23. And
Yep.
at that point, that was the first point where I think at watching the game, I really felt like Dallas might win the game. But the bounce back in the 19th over was absolutely fantastic. It was Soil took out Inosh Kenjige, allowed
Yeah.
4 runs on the over to make it 19 needed in the final over.
Probably, we often say it's the most important over in a cricket match, right? The 19th, because neither team really wants to go into the 20th with that kind of pressure and having to perform to you either defend 3 or 4 runs or have to chase down like you said another 15 to 20 runs.
Right.
So yeah, whoever gets the job done in that 19th is really going to have the advantage. And yeah, it was Lone Star this time. Again, watching it late, we thought Dallas might pull another rabbit out of the hat. Just couldn't finish it off. But again, so it's an interesting start for the Mustangs overall. They did end up getting the win in the first match and dropped the second. Maybe a bit of a stumbling, a little bit of stumbling out of the gate. Like you said, we got to, the team's got to kind of figure out all their roles, learn how to gel as a team, figure out what their spot is, and ultimately get some match winners in there. And I'm still confident. I'll put it out there now. Like I still think this has got to be the clear favorite for the division. It is a tough start to the year with both Houston and Lone Star. They're great teams. Um, but yeah, probably not exactly what they expected to open the season.
Right. And when you look at their bowling is clearly a weakness at this point. They've
Yeah,
been very expensive.
yeah,
And obviously the batting conditions where they're playing are pretty good as far as
yeah,
throughout the whole country. The best batting conditions are probably in Texas. Their most economical bowlers have been Nosh Kanjige. Obviously, he's going to be
yeah,
economical at
yeah,
6.14, and then the youngster, the U21, Rushil Ugarkar, whose
yeah,
economy is 7.5. Now, Rushil hasn't gotten a long run in minor league cricket before this year. It looks like he's
yeah,
going to this year because he's gotten his quota in both games. So this is
yeah.
a great thing for him to be playing on a team this good. But the pressure is going to build on a team with
Oh yeah,
expectations like this, which is could be a very good thing for him. Then you
yeah,
also have Ali Sheikh, your two of your top bowlers in terms of overs right now, two of your top five bowlers and overs are under 21. So
yeah.
this is kind of a risky move for this team.
Yeah, yeah, no, they're gonna have to bet themselves out of some games. Like you said, I mean, it's great to see they've got a couple young bowlers that they're gonna be able to give long runs. Yeah, Nosh, they're really their only economical bowler of the set, and he got no wickets this weekend. You figure that'll turn around. Wickets are
Sure.
very variable stat if you've read my stuff lately. But
Yeah.
it was definitely the weakness this weekend. And yeah, I mean they're opening and death bowlers, Salman Irshad and Ihsan Adil, both going for over 8 runs and over.
Right.
And they really got to tighten it up a little bit. Like you said, it's good batting conditions down there, but they can't rely on the bats every single game to
Sure.
to bail them out. So yeah, I think the bowling will come around. I think they'll figure it out. They'll start taking wickets more regularly and get a little more economical. I think they have the talent to do so, and they'll certainly learn again. Like we said, they'll figure out their roles and usage patterns over the course of the season. But yeah, bowling wasn't quite there. It really let them down a little bit this weekend,
Right.
and frankly, like the top four with the bat. I mean, they got again, some of the best major league bats in minor league cricket.
For sure. Yeah.
At the top of the order. And really, the only major innings they got was House in a losing effort in the second match with his 70.
Yeah.
Everything else was a little bit weak. So again, they got a lot of players. It's not just the minor leaguers or
Right.
the major leaguers. Excuse me. It's not just the major leaguers. They got Hamad Azam, the 2021 MVP. It looks like he might have recovered some of his form. He had a bit of a struggle last year with the bat. So if they can get him back with the bat and hey, maybe even get a few overs from him with the ball, because again they do kind of need some bowling depth. I think they'll turn it around. But yeah, clear things to work on for them going forward.
Right. And they also have players. They've gone with the same 11 for both teams,
Yep.
for both games. And we didn't see any bowling from Jonas Arkan. We didn't see any bowling yet from Hamad Azam. So they still have in this 11, they still have options that they haven't tapped
Yeah.
into yet. We'll see, what they're going to do with that. The interesting thing to me is Corey Anderson's only bowled 11 overs coming into this or coming into this season, and he bowled 4 already this season.
Yeah.
So obviously they're leaning on Corey Anderson, or they're counting on Corey Anderson, but how much can we expect Corey to bowl? It all depends on if he's preparing himself as a bowler, which he's a pro, so you have to imagine that he is, but
Yeah.
he hasn't been doing that in the past in
Yeah.
minor league cricket. So that's a big question mark for me. Obviously, you got other players on the team who haven't cracked the 11 yet this season, who we might see depending on the conditions. We'll see what they do, but I'm sure that they have a better idea of what's going on within their team than we do.
Yep.
We're just looking at the results after they happen. Amin and I talked on the air during the minor league broadcast of the Baltimore Royals that the Central might actually just beat each other up to the point
Yeah.
where the advancing playoff teams are like 6-4 or 7-3 or something
Yeah.
like that. Something we've never really
Absolutely.
seen anything like that in minor league cricket before. You typically have to dominate your division,
Yeah.
especially in the Pacific. You got to dominate your division to move on to the
Yeah.
playoffs. We might not see that this year. Lone Star Athletics
Yeah.
currently in first place with their 2 wins, and let's talk about their next game after this one. They both Lone Star and Houston went on to play against the Dallas Xploria Giants, and they
Yep.
both came away with wins.
Yeah. Starting with Lone Star, they scrabbled a little bit with the bat against the Xploria Giants. They got to 142, but really, the Giants batting flopped in this game. To be perfectly honest, they had 2 batters above 6. Lone Star had a great innings, a great bowling innings from Pawan Suyal with 4 from 15, 2 wickets in the power play, 2 at the death. Never really let the Xploria Giants get going. So, yeah, that wrapped up, at least for the Lone Star Athletics, a perfect weekend, 2-0, taking care of the 2 teams from Dallas. And frankly, they looked great. I mean, they got Jahangir, they got Nitish Kumar, they got a lot of bats that, frankly, they didn't really need after them down the order. So, it was great. They got really good all-around bowling attack. I think they had 5 bowlers with 2+ wickets each. So really good start for Lone Star. Definitely, again, putting themselves in the pole position in the standings, and potentially, yeah, I know I still said Dallas Mustangs are our favorites to win, but yeah, you almost have to put Lone Star right with them. But again, like you said, Central's so deep. Every team's got major league talent. Most teams have multiple players from the major leagues. So long way to go, but couldn't have asked for a better start from Lone Star.
Yeah, and Pawan Soil from Lone Star Athletics. What a weekend from him in his 7.4 overs, 6 wickets, 7.17 economy. They just really relied on him quite a bit
Yeah.
with the ball, to work his magic. And everybody else on the team, they've gotten contributions with wickets from everyone else on the team. Aside from Imran Khan Jr., though, nobody's really standing out too much in terms of economy. So it just goes to show this is a tough division to bowl in. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Any division with frankly just the Dallas Mustangs is going to be tough, but bats all around. I mean, we talked at length about Dallas Mustangs, but I mean, when you got Nitish Kumar, Shine Jahangir, Shubham Rajane, like Milind Kumar, like these
Yeah,
guys, like they barely batted this weekend, and
right,
they're just incredibly talented. So
right.
Lone Star could be right up there with the Mustangs at the end.
And Nitish Kumar, worth mentioning, this was his first half century in minor league cricket, which is
Hmm.
unbelievable to think about when we
Yeah,
think about the class of player that he is, the fact that he
yeah,
captained Canada, the fact that he's a reliable all-rounder, he's a sought-after all-rounder in the USA. Any team would be happy to add him to the team. This was his first half century against this weekend against the Dallas Mustangs in a massive game. What
yeah,
a time to do it, and with that partnership with Jahangir, who's been as hot as anybody in the continent.
yeah,
Tremendous stuff, and worth mentioning also, extremely worth mentioning, in Houston, Joshua Tromp, who has struggled in
yes,
minor league with the bat in the
yeah,
past, coming in this weekend with back-to-back 50s,
yeah,
back-to-back half centuries to open the season. Particularly impressive.
yeah,
The Xploria Giants put up 165 in their first innings,
yeah,
and then Houston chased it down on the 3rd ball of the 16th over. thanks
Yeah.
to a not out 78 from 38 from Joshua Trump and some Saif Badar and Mukhtar Ahmed, also pummeling the ball. So this team,
Yeah.
this Houston team, look at this. Mukhtar Ahmed, Fahad Babar,
Yeah.
Joshua Trump, Saif Badar. That's their top four. And that is a
Yeah.
pretty impressive top four. Not to mention, you've got Usman Rafiq, Hamza Bangash, Hassan Rashid, Karthik Gadapelli, Cyclin Haydar, Matthew Trump himself,
Yeah.
who only batted in the one. But you've got a loaded team here in Houston. This
Yeah.
Texas pocket,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And Houston bounced back. The final game in Texas that we haven't mentioned. They bounced back after the heartbreaking loss to the Mustangs with a win over the Giants. Like you said, Xperia Giants got off with 165, a decent total, and then the Joshua Trump show started and basically chased it down. Maybe not single-handedly, but certainly led the chase for them. Just an outstanding innings, like you said. Yeah, as of now, most improved player from last year. I think he had 7 runs from 15 balls all last year. So we'll see if he can keep it up. You're not going to get 30 run 50s from Joshua Trump every weekend, but
No,
a
no.
lot of depth beyond that.
Yeah,
And frankly, like I really like their bowling.
yeah,
Really deep bowling attack. They're getting wickets. Every bowler that's bowled and over has a wicket for them this year. Pretty good economies across the board. And that's with, frankly, like Matthew Trump was one of their star bowlers last year, and he's only bowled 4 overs at an economy of 11. So figure he'll put it together as well.
sure.
Again, really deep bowling attack, good batting. We could go on about these Texas teams in the Central. It's going to be really tough, and the poor Xperia Giants going 0-2, and they've got plenty of talent of their own. So yeah, real again solid weekend for Houston. They're going to be upset they couldn't pull out that win against the Mustangs to get themselves a 2-0 start to the year.
And the Dallas X4 Giants here. This
Yep.
is a surprise. The team looks really good up and down. You look at the roster.
Yep.
This is a roster full of major league cricketers as well. The whole team in the 2 games has taken 5 wickets, only 5 wickets.
Yeah.
This is a team that has Harmeet Singh and Akhilesh Bodhigam, who were 2 of the 5 bowlers from Seattle. And I say 5 bowlers. They bowled 5 guys every game. They're full quota, just about every single game.
Yeah. Like you said, you stole my great stat. Five wickets for their bowlers in the opening weekend. Again, I said it earlier. Wickets are probably going to come around for them. They'll get a little bit better, and I guess the bright side there is they only got 5 wickets with the ball because they got 4 runouts in one of their matches. So at least that says something about their fielding.
Yeah, that's a
They
good
got
point.
something going for them. But for the course of the whole weekend, yeah, they just didn't really get it going with either bat or ball. I mentioned the second match they had, which was against Lone Star, just 2 batters getting over a 6. And again, Harmeet Singh, he's a guy, for Seattle last year. Remember the end of the year when they had to make some of those net run rate chases. I mean, he was putting up 35 off 11 like it was nothing.
Right,
And this weekend, 2 runs off 6 balls. And you
right.
got to figure maybe bumping up the order a little bit, let him kind of act like a pinch hitter. Maybe they can get some quick runs from him.
There was one other set of matchups over the weekend, and that was Michigan versus St. Louis in St. Louis. And we
Yep.
saw a split there. Both teams taking turns almost dominating each other.
Yeah. First match on Saturday was a rain shortened affair, 14 overs for each side. Michigan Cricket Stars, they got a huge 53 off 36 from Nicholas Curtin. And then, with the ball, Mohamed Mohsin coming in 3 wickets for just 16 runs. They really, again, stifled St. Louis. St. Louis, not too much going for them in the first match, but they did come back in the second game. Michigan put up a good 153 on Sunday, no rain shortened, so the full 20 overs. And Americans, Justin Dill, we talked earlier, he came in with, I think in the 11th over, and it was not looking great for St. Louis, but he combined with Ujjwal Vinatoka for a huge final partnership, 81 off 43, to chase down the Michigan Cricket Stars with an over to spare. So yeah, a split for these 2 teams. Again, we've talked at length about how every team really does have talent, but you'd probably have to say these might be 2 of the bottom teams, and I think for either of these teams to to really challenge for the division. They probably wanted to sweep this weekend.
Right.
But again, good teams. Like I think every team in this division could beat could beat everybody else. There's any given Sunday, so to speak, for them. But a split in St. Louis again, probably not ideal for either team, but good to see some strong performances from each of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin Dill hasn't been out yet this season. Scored 22 in the first game and 54 in the next game, batting at number 5 for his side, the
Yeah,
captain of the team. As you mentioned, he's going to be the type of guy who's going to have to win some games for them.
yeah,
He's already won one for them right here.
yeah,
Obviously, he had a great partnership at the end there with Vinicota. But Nikhil Kanchan put in some scrappy runs as well, which is something we can always expect from him. We always expect some
yeah,
kind of a him to tough it out and to make some runs for the team. And yeah, it's looking like you said, these two teams are going to have to be scrappy. They're going to have to be unified, and they're going to
yeah.
have to find, because this division is really hard. We haven't even talked
Oh
about
yeah,
the Chicago teams this weekend,
yeah,
this week, because they didn't play any games last weekend. So you haven't had a win yet from any of the new teams in the Central, and there's 2 of them.
yeah, yeah,
So there's something to be said for the continuity of having a team, year after year, and keeping 70% of the same guys. Let's see what we've got coming up in the Central next weekend. We've got the Michigan Cricket Stars again playing against actually this time playing against Chicago Tigers,
yeah.
and we have the Kingsmen and the St. Louis Americans playing against each other. That'll be a really interesting matchup.
Yep. We got Lone Star. Lone Star is gonna play Houston. That's gonna be a huge one. I mean, these are the two teams, like we said, that went up against the Dallas Mustangs to open the year. And you probably call I would say Lone Star versus Houston, that's our early maybe fight for a playoff spot there. That's gonna be a huge match.
Can't
They'll
miss
meet
that
again
one.
later in the year, but yeah, just a lot of really, really exciting matches. You got some of the northern teams playing each other, and again, they're going to have to, if they do beat each other up, that's probably not great for any of them, because I think you'd probably give a little bit of an advantage to the Dallas teams. Like you said, Labor Day weekend, we got the North coming south to play all the teams from Texas. So yeah, every weekend is huge. It's a real sprint this year. It's just
Right.
10 matches, and every match is massive. Can't wait.
Well, Tom, thanks for joining me. Once again, you've been awesome as usual,
Thank you.
and we'll catch up again soon. But good luck to you, and thanks again for all your hard work.
All right, thanks for having me, Nate.
And short, hammered straight. That's going to be 4 more. What an absolutely brilliant strike. Or did he save that? Oh, what a brilliant piece of fielding. He saved that. Saved 2 runs for his